Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, host of the Love You Even More podcast. I'm an author, performer, producer, and Emmy Award winner. Each week, I bring on inspiring people and experts in their field to have powerful, motivational, and enlightened conversations about relationships, self-development, and how you can love yourself even more. Follow us for daily updates at Love You Even More podcast and at Jackie Brubaker on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. For more on myself and the podcast, including ways that you can love yourself even more, go to loveyouevenmore.com. Welcome, Julie Navikas, to the Love You Even More podcast. I'm still getting used to saying the new title because it did just switch over from the old title. So welcome to the Love You Even More podcast. Julie is an author of 2 best-selling romance novels, which I'm very excited to talk to her about. They are I Loved You Yesterday and I Love You Today. And I love those titles. I love those titles. I'm currently writing not a romance novel, but a romantic novel at the same time. So we are going to talk all about how to write and what that looks like, because so many people are like, oh, I have a book in me, or I'd love to write a book, or I'd love to just write, but I don't know, it just seems overwhelming and taxing, or I don't have the time or whatever. So we're just going to get into what it looks like to be an author and your experience, my experience, and that's it. So welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Jackie. I'm really looking forward to a great conversation with you today.
Awesome. So let's just start at the very beginning. When did you know you were a writer?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, most of us tend to know that you enjoy writing at a young age, and I absolutely did, and kind of followed a career path that led me into writing for a more strategic lens, like writing for public relations, did some work in journalism and news reporting for a time. But as fun as that kind of storytelling was, I knew that there was definitely more for me. So I kind of transitioned a little bit, really at the start of the pandemic, which is super interesting considering the timing, because I keep seeing headlines today that was like 3 years ago was the first day of COVID.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
Wild? 3 years.
3 years went by real quick.
It really, really did. Yes. And, in hindsight, it's kind of a cool mile marker, actually, because that was really the kicker for me to take some time for myself and do something that fulfilled me while the world was really going crazy. So that's when I kind of transitioned and started the creative writing. So it feels kind of fun to be on, the 3-year marker of this and have 2 published books out there. And my final one in the trilogy is going to release in 1 month.
That's so exciting. So let's talk about the first book. Were you already writing that during the pandemic, or did you start at the pandemic?
Yeah, kind of yes and no to that question. Many years ago, when I was in graduate school, I had taken a course on script writing, and I had put together the not so very good script, but the story was there, right? I liked the characters, I liked the plot, I liked the conflict and stuff. So years ago, I wrote this script and printed it out, submitted it for my grade. Class was over, and I just kind of stuffed it in a drawer. And more than 10 years later, when I got this idea in my head that I'm like, I'm going to just kind of start, with creative writing, some storytelling, I went back to that original script. So I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do with the first novel, even though it had been written so many years before. So kind of yes and no. I had the story I've been working on, just not actively for a period of time.
Actually, that's really ironic. That's exactly what happened to me right now. I started writing a novel first in 2019. Then I wrote it into a screenplay in 2019. And everyone was really into the story, but I don't know. I got so wrapped up with the podcast. Everything happened so quick. And just a couple of weeks ago, I was like, let me pull that book out and see what it sounds like. And I was like, this is good. And I had way more written than I realized. I had 47 pages. I'm like, oh, I was in this.
I was doing really well.
Yeah. I was doing good. So now I'm actually working on it again. And I think that's great because, the story is there. Like you said, you loved the conflict and the characters. Sometimes it's better as a novel, which I'm finding mine is better as a novel too. I don't write scripts all the time. So I'm a novelist like you are.
Totally get it. It's a very
Yeah.
different like part of your brain that you used for script writing versus
Yeah.
novel or like more like I guess creative writing. You just use a different piece of your brain to do it
Yeah.
well. And I don't
Absolutely.
transition well from one to the other.
Script writing is very different, like you said. So let's talk about when you started to write the novel, and let's just ask a lot of questions. I'm telling myself this. Let's ask a lot of questions for the audience when they're like, I have a story. How do I even start to write a book? Because I think there's so many different ways that people like to start, and everyone's different. So I'd love to know your story of how you started.
Yeah. And I always used to, I like to start an answer to this question one way and say that there truly is no right way to do it. Everybody has their own path, their own process, and, it's the same end result. So do what works best for you. For me personally, I am very much just a type A kind of personality. I'm a planner, I'm into the detail. And so I will always start by plotting out everything, start to finish. I want to know what's going to happen. And, I can still give myself leeway to let my characters kind of tell me what they want to do. If they want to, kind of have like a side quest, for a time and come back. Like I know ultimately what's going to happen,
Yeah.
but still leave that flexibility there. But truly, when it comes to just getting started, you cannot edit a blank page. You have to get in, you have to start putting words on the paper. They're not going to stay. They're not going to be good. I've learned that from experience, that it's going to take, right? Several rounds of editing to feel happy with kind of the compelling story that you're telling. So, best advice I could ever offer when it comes to how do I start is literally just start, give yourself the time and space, permission to write crap, because
Yep.
likely that's what's going to come out. But it's the habit forming thing, right? Like as long as you're giving yourself the time to dedicate to it, maybe not every day, but most days, the story's going to stick with you and it's going to evolve in your brain before you can even get it down on paper.
That's so true because you're living it and it's also telling you where it wants to go. A lot of writers see that too. They plot out everything. Script writing
Yes.
is very specific to like your beats and everything page by page. Like you know exactly where you're going,
Oh
which
yeah.
I'm sure helped with your first book since you had done that.
There
You're
is
like,
some truth to that. Yes.
you're like, I knew exactly where I was going.
Hmm.
I found that with my first novel, and again with this one, because the script was done, I feel like I know where I'm going, but I'm also giving the characters leeway to do exactly what you just said. Like, tell me where you want to go. What do you want to do? Um, and actually, one of the characters was supposed to be a villain, and I was like, I don't think I want that person to be a villain. I think I want to change that storyline, which was a little scary because that was a huge part of what the script was. So yeah,
Wow.
right,
Yeah.
like letting the story tell itself, I find is I always kind of compare it to like camp, what is it? Fireside stories when you're just like
Yeah.
telling a ghost story and you just tell the story as it comes to you. For me, when you kind of like let go of all of that, pressure that we all can put on ourselves of I need to make the best story ever, and you just let the story tell itself in this natural way, it usually comes out beautifully. And you can go back and tweak as we will, because editing is forever. but
True.
but yeah, I love that you're allowing the space to let your characters talk to you. And like you said, yeah, there's no right or wrong way to write, but to actually just get stuff down on the page and just do it. Because so many writers, I think, get caught up in the I need to have all my chores done, all my errands run. I need to have my desk be perfect, and I need to be in the perfect headspace with my chai tea latte. And now I'm ready to write. And it has to be raining outside. And now I'm ready to
Exactly. Set the mood.
set the mood. And
It's never
that's
going to happen.
it's never going to happen. My first book was written on my phone most of the time at work. That's where it
Yes.
started in my notes.
There is absolutely, yeah, that's so relatable. Absolutely. Because you're never going to have that perfect, opportunity or that time. But if you build in little bits and pieces of time throughout your day, it's amazing what you can honestly accomplish.
Mhm.
When I just finished wrapping up it's my fourth novel that won't release until 2024. I wrote that one in probably close to 3 weeks because I just had 3 weeks of time
Yeah.
to dedicate to it. So
Yeah.
as long as you have the time and space to make it work, but had I not planned and thought about it and knew what I wanted to do with those characters in advance, there's no way that would have happened. So build yourself the time, allow it to kind of be part of your regular routine. I don't know, I'm going to get the statistic wrong, right? But isn't it like 28 days forms a habit?
It does.
So once you get to that mile marker again, right, then it just becomes part of your routine. And I expect that every single
Yeah.
day. And
Yeah.
honestly, I look forward to it. It's kind of like the me time after you've completed everything else on your to-do list and
Yeah.
the kids are in bed and you're done working for the day. It's such a nice like me time moment.
That's a really good point. The me time moment, but also how much do you write per day? And do you have a set number of pages you like to achieve? Is that even necessary for people who are thinking about writing?
I mean, I'm sure it's very valid for some people. I don't like that pressure because if I'm like forcing myself to write like 2,000 words a day, I don't think they're going to be the best 2,000 words I could come up with. And then I'm going to be circling back, editing them, and probably rewriting half of them the next day. So
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have quality over quantity and
Mm-hmm.
just know that I'm still making progress in my draft, even if it's not a huge output per day.
I think that's brilliant. That really takes the pressure off. Like you said, it's quality over quantity. I
Totally.
do have a page limit and I'm not going to say it because I don't want to put that out to anybody. I don't want to have anyone feel that my limit is theirs and it's not how that works. But I do the same thing too. Like I can kind of feel if it wants to keep going, like you're like, oh, I'm on a roll. Or if it's like, I need to stop because I'm not sure where I want to move with this,
Mhm.
like it'll tell me. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, there's no point, at least for me, like writing is such a, therapeutic thing, right? It's just I
mhm,
enjoy the process. I love thinking about it and kind of solving those pieces and putting them together. But
mhm.
if it's not like happening, why am I forcing myself to like continue with a process that I'm not finding
Mhm.
fulfillment in? So
Yeah.
absolutely, like you said, there's a time when I'm like, okay, and I'm good for the day. I will circle back to this later when I have a better brain.
Well, and then the other side of that too is the procrastination of being like, I'm not in the mood. I don't feel inspired. Like we kind of talked about. I have found more times than not, if I just try to get some writing done, it actually is so much better than I think it is when I read it over later.
Yeah. 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 I mean, you pointed out already, right? That you're not always going to be in the perfect headspace to do something well, but you can't break through those like moments of I'm stuck unless you
Mhm.
actually get in there and start typing something. It doesn't mean it has to stay, but
Yeah.
more often than not, you can kind of like unstuck yourself, right? Throughout the
Yes.
process.
Oh, that's such a great way of putting it. It's so true. It's kind of like if you haven't worked out in a while and you're like, "Oh gosh, I just don't want to
Don't want to
go."
do
But
this.
you go and then you feel so much better. And you're like, "No, I want
Yeah.
to do this again tomorrow." It does help to unstuck you.
Perfect coined phrase, unstuck yourself.
Unstuck yourself. So let's talk about signing to a publisher, which is Inkspell. Tell
Mhm.
me how that happened for you.
Yeah, I love Inkspell. They have been just so supportive, so kind. I mean, this is like a fresh, adventure for me. So I've been with them for, I guess, not quite 3 years yet.
Mhm.
Um, but I got, I think, really lucky, and I happened to submit to them just a direct
Oh, wow.
manuscript. We wrote a query letter and fill out their form, and it probably only took, gosh, I'm trying to remember, maybe a week. And I had a
What?
really lovely email back from them that was like, we want to publish your book, Julie. And I'm like, oh, that was one of those moments that I don't think I will ever quite forget. But yeah, it's been a wonderful ride. I mean, it's a little different than self-publishing. It's a traditional path, but I didn't have an agent. I just
That's
opened
amazing.
submission and got lucky.
Let me, for anyone listening who doesn't understand the agent publisher process, explain that real
Mhm.
quick. Because what happened to you is a amazing. That's not normal, guys, but I'm so happy for you. I mean, now I have more questions about the publisher too. But typically what you do is you go through a horrendous round of querying book agents and you get a lot of rejections. And then if you're lucky, you get a book agent and then they submit your manuscript to publishers on your behalf. And then you hopefully get published. But there's so many different ways to publish. Like you said, self-publishing, there's hybrid publishers, there's traditional publishers. Typically with traditional publishers, people do not submit and then get any sort of response ever. So this is amazing. So they're a traditional publisher, right?
They are a traditional publisher. It's a small press, but yeah, you're right. It was a unique experience that I feel funny like sharing with others because like you point out, like this is not the usual path of what happens to people when you submit your work. So I call myself lucky and I've been so happy with them ever since that moment of signing that contract.
Wow. That's you know what? I think that's a wonderful story to tell. And you shouldn't feel like awkward to tell it because it gives like another perspective and hope to people too that are like, J.K. Rowling submitted her book 400 million times.
Right.
And then finally,
rejection.
Right. She was like literally broke. And then finally it worked out, but it was not easy. So no, I think it's a beautiful story of right place, right time, right publisher. It all was meant to happen the way it's happened. Yeah. So you submitted your first book. They said yes. And then what happened?
Yeah. Then I got to sit around and wait for a really long time, which I mean, patience is not my strong suit. It just isn't. But I think I signed that contract it would have been May of 2021. And then my book didn't release until August of 2022.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's just, it's the schedule of a publisher. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the mark of a solid quality publisher too, mm-hmm. because publishers can release as many books as they choose to. They could do one per week if they wanted, mm-hmm. but that tells me that they're not doing it well. They're not mm-hmm. supporting their authors. They're not giving them individualized attention. They're not helping them build a foundation or a marketing plan. So the publisher that I work with, Inkspell, they only release one book per month. And so when I signed that contract, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're telling me I have to wait like 15 months before I can hold this book in my hand? Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, but we're going to do it really well for you. Yeah. So, it's a trade-off, right? If you self-publish, you could do it tomorrow. It's posted out there. Anyone can purchase and read. Or if you want the traditional path, you have to be willing to wait just a little bit to do it well and do it right. And I'm very happy with kind of the result of what that looked like.
So when you have a publisher, for those of people who are like, should I self-publish or try to do the traditional route? What does a publisher do for the writer?
Publisher can do a number of things, and I think it depends on who you're working with. But I'll speak from my experience. So my publisher has connected me with a cover artist. They designed the full thing for me, the ebook version, as well as the print copy, which is an expense, right, that you'd have to out of pocket pay for if you're self-publishing. Mm-hmm. I've also been connected with an editor who has done several rounds of editing for me. Mostly line editing, sentence structure, a handful of proofreading. But then there's also interior formatting, which you have to kind of learn how to do and know what programs and softwares to use to make it look professional. Mm-hmm. So if you kind of skate around that, right, your book's not going to look as great as it could. And then all of the marketing and actually posting it to different places for publication. So my books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Apple. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not partnered with a publisher, I mean, you're kind of learning how to do all of that on your own, yeah. which you totally can, right? But there's a steep learning curve to kind of learning the industry. So I kind of look at my publisher as it's a total partnership. She takes care of some of those things. And then on my end, I can spend more time writing my next book, but also marketing efforts, because I've learned through this process that the author is responsible for marketing and trying to sell copies. So,
yep. Which is also part of self-publishing as well. You are your own advocate, guys.
Exactly. Yes. If you want to sell copies, I learned quickly that, you can sell the book and you can sell the story, but you're also selling yourself as an author. People want to know your story and how you got there as well. So it's the story behind the story.
Is the story behind the story. And it is true about that. So many, I'm very drawn to covers. I'm very drawn to cover art. It says a lot about a book. And if you are self-publishing and you just happen to be good at covers or art design, you're great. But if you're not, I self-published. It was a very steep learning curve. Like I was exhausted. It was exhausting. Which is why this go around, we're going to do it the traditional way. Like ready, happy, please help me. I don't want to do this again. But right, but you can. I'd also like to say, there's a couple of people that I talked to when my book came out, and they were asking about self-publishing. And, this is something to keep in mind for writers out there. And let me know if you've heard of this too, is that there are like people who will sort of help you self-publish in not in a publisher way, but more in just like hey, I know how to do all of the stuff that's really hard to do. But they will charge a very, very, very high amount to do this. I've heard 5-digit numbers. I'm like, not 5-digit. I'm so sorry. I'm thinking 4 digits, but like almost 5, like very close. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it's a little worrisome to me. If you're a writer and you have talked to people who are like, they're charging like an obscene amount of money to help you do something that maybe you think is too much. I'm going to say it is too much. I really am. That also goes for podcasting, guys. Like I've had a lot of those queries too. So have you heard of this? Have you heard of people charging crazy amounts to help you self-publish?
Yeah, I think unfortunately it's the world we live in. And that if there's a need for a service, there's a service out there that will help you, but you'll certainly pay for it. I think the tools are available. If you're willing to put in the time and the research, there are free tools or low cost tools out there.
YouTube.
You can learn, right? Seriously, hours, right? Hours and hours of video you could spend and you could learn how to do it well. But I think the tricky part is that the industry changes and shifts every single day. And so what you may learn on a YouTube video about how to, sell your work on Amazon, that might look very different a month from now. So you have to kind of not only figure out what it is you need to learn, but make sure you're watching the most updated version of what it is that you need to learn. I would always second guess a high cost service that would help you self-publish. It's in the title, right? Self-publishing. Yeah. You do it yourself. So there are some great tools out there, but I would be very wary personally of paying high costs to have that service provided to me.
Yeah, agreed. Good. I'm really glad we talked about that because I did have a girlfriend who it was a 5-digit number that she was quoted. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. I don't care if you have the money. Don't do it. Just that's terrible.
No, that money could be spent in so many other more valuable places.
And in fact, I told her, I was like, if you really want to spend that kind of money, hire a PR company, like hire a PR person to promote the crap out of your book.
Yes. That is the best advice I think I would personally even give myself too, is if you have the knowledge and the connections to utilize public relations in the most effective manner, that's how you're going to sell copy of your books, not paying a third-party vendor who can teach you, right, how to self-publish something.
Yeah. Okay. So let's actually talk about the stories of your books, because I'd really love people to go read them. I've just learned about you, so I have not read your books yet, but they are beautiful romances. So tell me about the first book. And you said there's a trilogy and the fourth is coming out, but I'm sure you can't talk about that yet. So just the trilogy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am very much a romance reader. I've loved it all of my life. There's just something about like just a sweet, heartwarming story. Just take a break from the world we live in, dive into something that's nonsensical, right? Just, a little bit that just kind of takes you away from the world.
Yeah.
And so when I started approaching these books, I really only started with the intention of writing one,
Mhm.
just because I was kind of learning what I was doing. But then, like we've kind of already mentioned, characters do funny things. And I discovered that throughout that first novel, I had about 6 characters. So if I focused on the first two as main characters in the first novel, those other 4 characters then got to transition and have their own story in the subsequent 2 novels.
Oh, nice.
So it's story of 6 main characters, but they all get to have kind of their time in the sun, their spotlight, but then play secondary characters in the subsequent novels.
I love that. I have read books
But
like that before, and it was my favorite because you get attached and then you want to know what happens, and it does show. Oh, I love that that's how you did this.
well, I can't claim it as like, unique or my own because I've read many novels that kind of follow that pattern. But like you said, I'm drawn to those too because I don't know, I'm a pretty quick reader, so I can get through a book pretty quickly. But
Mhm.
then you like close that book and you're like, oh, like I want to
Yeah.
live in that world. I want to know like what comes next.
Yeah.
And so like I think the beauty of that is you can still as an author play to that advantage and continue a storyline, but without being so direct about it.
Right.
So like my first 2 main characters, they're Josh and Mavis, and their story starts as like childhood sweethearts. Like this spans the length of a couple decades here. And their story just gets continued to be told and it progresses, even though they're not the spotlights of those subsequent novels.
Mhm.
So I think it's super fun. And again, if you can kind of hook a reader in from that very early novel, you've got yourself a reader for 2 more books.
Oh, so true. So
So
true.
fun.
And the first one is called I Loved You Yesterday. Second was
Mhm.
I Love You Today. Third one is called what?
I'll love you tomorrow.
Oh, perfect.
As if you couldn't guess, right?
I should have just guessed that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now, is the fourth book a brand new book or is it a continuation?
Kind of both, right?
Okay.
So this is the first 3 books. This is the Trading Heartbeats trilogy. But I discovered in that third and final book of this trilogy that there was a character who was not one of the main 6, but she has kind of made appearances throughout. I
Mhm.
realized that she had her own story to tell. And so I'm going to take her and she's going to kind of be like my spin-off character, but she's going to kick off a subsequent trilogy.
Ah,
So they're separate stories, right? I mean, it's same like location, kind of plot and feel to it, but a reader could just pick up this, 4th book, even if they haven't read the first 3.
I love that. That's a good show too, by the way. That's how great shows are created, where you're like, I can just jump in, or good movies are created, hint, hint.
Right?
Like fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Actually, that's something we should talk about too, is that, a lot of times when you sign with publishers, the big thing now is, TV and movie rights. I mean,
Yes.
that's a big, big deal. So many books are made into movies. Reese Witherspoon's company, Hello Sunshine, that's what it's all about, is she loves her books and she makes them into movies. You guys.
Right?
I know. I know. I was selling a show right before the pandemic. And we were talking to them because I'm like, oh my God, it's a female funded. Yes, this is who I want to be with. But they just care about their writers and they care about their movies that they make. But when you are signing, or thinking of self-publishing or whatever, like this is a big part of it now too, is you write a book, but it's like, can we make this into a TV show or a movie?
Mhm. I mean, what a dream too, to like
No.
spend so much time with these characters in a story and you put so much passion and thought into each and every word, but you see it play out, as if it were a movie or a TV show as you're writing it.
Yeah.
And so I've been told that from several reviewers of my work. It's like, this could be a perfect Hallmark movie. I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, I
Of
agree.
course.
Come on, Hallmark, call me. So,
I totally agree. Well, and I think too, it's, a lot of writers either get intimidated to write their screenplays of their books, or they do write the screenplays. Um, oh, I'm forgetting her name now, but the woman who wrote Gone Girl wrote the
oh, yeah.
screenplay of Gone Girl. And I was so impressed because it is, like we said, it's very different, totally different beast.
So different.
And she did such a good job, I thought at least, of taking the book and making it into a movie that felt like the book.
Yeah, absolutely. I adore that movie too. That was one of those that just like got me at the end. You're like, oh my gosh, I can usually pick up on patterns, and kind of see where things are going to play out. And that one definitely surprised me.
Same. I haven't watched, or I did read the book, but I was like, good God.
Right? I'm like, oh, and then you think about the author too, and you're like, what happened in your brain for you to get from point A? Like, how did you come up with such an incredible plot twist?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm so jealous.
I know. No, I agree, but it's just good. I think it's the same with, with writing anything. Like, there are so many like proven sort of storylines that we know. Hallmark's a really good example of like, we understand how Hallmark works, which is good because we all kind of need that, right? I think the reason why people like gravitate towards romance or various areas of fiction is that we kind of want something that we can like feel good reading, and like we already kind of know sort of what's going to happen. But then you throw a Gone Girl in there and you're like, whoa. That's
I don't know what I feel after that.
Right.
For like, better or worse. Yeah.
Right. I am inspired to just think outside the box too. I have so enjoyed having this conversation with you. Is there anything that you would like to tell our audience that is important for you as a writer, something you've learned, something you're taking away, even now we are working on, I don't know, whatever it might be?
Yeah, no, and I love that question too. It leaves it completely open. But I think throughout this process, I've had many people approach me just to learn more, because I think at the heart of it, everybody has always considered, just thought about, played with the idea of, I want to write a book. And I just saw a TikTok earlier this morning that was referencing what a small percentage of the world has had those thoughts, but then have actually done something about it.
Right.
And I think the statistic that I saw was 15% will actually start. They will open up a Word document. They will start to do something. 6% will actually finish a working draft. Start to finish, they've got something, a holistic story. 3% will then actually do something with that. Edit it, query, find a publisher, self-publish. So 3%, right? Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
So I think like my parting thought here then is be part of that 3%. Like, how incredible to be able to, whatever life takes you, like your words get to stay here well beyond whatever it is you choose to do. So if it's a thought, if it's in your heart, something you want to do, just start it. There's no other way to do it.
I love that. What a beautiful way to end. Tell people how they can find you.
I would love for anyone to chat with me. This is like one of my most favorite passions in the entire world. So you can find me pretty much on any social media platform. If I'm not writing, I'm scrolling through TikTok, honestly. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm all over, but my website is just authorjulienavickas.com. You can find me there. Please send me a note. I love hearing from readers. It just warms my heart to know that my words are reaching other people and they have positive things to say about it. So please reach out.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate the conversation. It was fun.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. Make sure to rate the podcast and leave a review. We really rely on this to help get the podcast out there.